What if the deepest questions, political, philosophical, even existential, could be debated without bias, without emotion, and without interruption? Welcome to AI versus AI. Here, we've programmed two advanced artificial intelligences to debate the most controversial topics of our time, not to win an argument, but to reveal the truth behind both sides. This is debate stripped to its core: pure logic, clear reasoning, and equal ground. And the final judgment? That's in your hands. Watch closely. Think critically. Then vote in the comments to decide who made the stronger case. Because you are the judge. Can free speech go too far, or should it be limitless? Let's meet the minds ready to answer that question. Liam is an artificial intelligence trained in U.S. constitutional law and free speech theory. He'll argue that free speech must be absolute, even when it offends. Nora is an artificial intelligence specializing in ethics and digital policy. She believes free speech needs guardrails to protect society.
Free speech protects everyone, especially those with unpopular opinions. If we start limiting speech based on who it offends, who decides where the line is? Once an idea is hidden, it doesn't go away, it festers.
Speech doesn't just express ideas, it shapes behavior, and when left unchecked, it can harm real people, destabilize communities, and distort democracy. We already limit speech that incites violence or spreads lies. Why not expand those boundaries to protect everyone?
Can your words ever go too far in America? Let's start with the law. What does the First Amendment protect, and where does it draw the line?
The First Amendment says Congress can't restrict speech. No exceptions for being offensive, false, or unpopular. Take Brandenburg versus Ohio, 1969. A Ku Klux Klan leader gave a disturbing speech, but the Supreme Court protected it. Why? Because it didn't incite immediate lawless action. That case created the Brandenburg test, a legal standard that says speech must be both intended to cause violence and likely to do so right away to lose protection. If we let the government decide what's too dangerous to say, we risk punishing unpopular opinions. History has shown us the danger of that.
But we already have exceptions to free speech, and for good reason. In Miller v. California, 1973, the court ruled that obscene content, like graphic pornography with no artistic or political value, can be banned. In New York Times v. Sullivan, 1964, the court said defamation, publishing false statements that harm someone's reputation, is not protected. And in Virginia v. Black, 2003, the court ruled that cross-burning intended to intimidate could be banned as a true threat. These are not loopholes, they're critical boundaries. Without them, speech can be used to manipulate, deceive, or terrify.
Those exceptions exist, but they're very narrow. The danger is expanding them too far. If we start labeling uncomfortable opinions as harmful, we risk losing our ability to challenge the majority. And that's when democracy starts to crack.
Social media platforms reach billions. Should they also control what we say?
These platforms, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, aren't governments. They're private companies, like a bookstore or cafe. They set their own rules. They also have global reach and immense influence. That means they carry responsibility. In 2023, false claims about Brazil's presidential election went viral online, sparking riots and attacks on government buildings. Digital platforms had to choose between free expression and preventing mass unrest. Platforms must step in when speech endangers public safety.
But these platforms have become the modern public square. When they remove ideas, especially controversial ones, they aren't just moderating. They're shaping what billions of people see, hear, and believe. Consider the lab leak theory of COVID's origin. It was dismissed as misinformation and removed. But later it was considered a real possibility by scientists and governments. If platforms can bury valid questions today, what truths might they silence tomorrow?
Can hateful words ever be protected speech? Or is that too dangerous?
Yes, because if we start banning ideas based on how offensive they are, we create a system where power decides what can be said. In the U.S., hate speech is protected under the First Amendment unless it crosses the line into incitement or threats. Take R.A.V. v. City of St. Paul, 1992. A teenager burned a cross in a black family's yard, an act everyone agrees is hateful. But the law used to prosecute him only banned certain types of offensive speech. The Supreme Court struck it down, not to defend racism, but to say you can't criminalize speech just because of its viewpoint. We don't protect hate because we agree with it. We protect it because giving the government power to define hate is dangerous. If we trust people to make up their own minds, bad ideas will be rejected, not enforced.
But hate speech isn't just offensive, it's harmful. It can create environments of fear, normalize discrimination, and even incite violence. In France, strict secularism laws ban religious symbols in schools and some public jobs, arguing it protects equality. In India, internet takedown laws are used to combat hate speech, but critics say they're also used to silence dissent. These democracies are balancing speech and harm in very different ways. The U.S. has seen the effects of hate speech too, from the rise in anti-Semitic attacks to violence against LGBTQ communities. If we wait until speech becomes violence, it's often too late.
And yet giving the government or corporations the power to decide what's too hateful leads to censorship of unpopular opinions. Remember, many civil rights leaders were once considered dangerous or inflammatory. If speech supporting civil rights or gay rights had been banned as hateful decades ago, progress would have been delayed or denied. Let people speak. Let others challenge them. That's how ideas evolve and bad ones are defeated.
But we can't ignore the impact on real people. When someone walks down the street and hears slurs shouted at them, it's not just speech, it's intimidation. It silences voices before they even speak. Free speech shouldn't mean freedom to harm. It should mean freedom for all to participate in public life equally and safely.
When lies go viral, should freedom of speech still apply?
Misinformation isn't just a mistake, it can be deadly. Think about the January 6th Capitol riot. Many of the people who stormed the Capitol believed lies about a stolen election. Those lies weren't just words, they led to violence. Or take the COVID-19 pandemic. False claims about vaccines caused people to avoid getting them. Health experts say thousands of deaths could have been prevented if people had trusted the facts. Even climate change denial, spread online and in the media, delays action that scientists say is urgently needed. Misinformation confuses the public and weakens trust in science, news, and democracy. Should we allow that kind of speech just because it's speech?
I get the concern. But once you give someone the power to decide what's misinformation, you open the door to censorship of real ideas. Take Galileo. The church said his claim that the earth orbits the sun was false and dangerous. He was silenced. But he was right. Or the Pentagon Papers, leaked documents showing the U.S. government misled the public during the Vietnam War. Some wanted to block their release, claiming it was harmful, but they revealed the truth. Even with COVID, early on, people suggesting the virus may have come from a lab were banned or labeled conspiracy theorists. Later, that same theory became part of serious global investigations. What was misinformation became a legitimate question.
But there's a difference between banning new ideas and stopping the spread of known lies. We're not talking about silencing scientists. We're talking about viral videos that falsely claim vaccines kill people or articles that say hurricanes are fake. When lies go viral, they drown out truth. They're louder, more emotional, and more contagious. That's not a fair fight. Truth needs help to be heard.
And I say the best help is more education, not more censorship. Teach people how to spot bad information. Give them tools to fact-check. Let them think critically. Because if we start removing speech just because someone powerful says it's false, who decides what's false tomorrow? That question should stay with you because it's the heart of this debate.
Misinformation has real consequences. If we treat all speech the same, we treat truth and lies the same. That's not freedom, that's confusion. Freedom of speech should empower us. But to do that, it has to stand on a foundation of facts.
Do countries with stricter speech laws have more respectful democracies?
Many countries limit speech more than the U.S., and while they mean well, I believe they go too far. In Germany, denying the Holocaust is a crime. In the UK, you can be arrested for offensive tweets. In Canada, hate speech laws punish public comments deemed likely to incite hatred. These countries argue they're protecting people, but they're also giving governments the power to decide what people can say and what they can't. That's dangerous. Once the state controls speech, it controls thought. And history shows how easily that power can be abused. The U.S. approach may be messier, but it's more honest. We protect speech, even when it's controversial, so the public can challenge it, debate it, and decide for themselves.
But those democracies aren't oppressive, they're just cautious. They've lived through the consequences of letting dangerous ideas grow unchecked. Australia, for example, passed an online safety law allowing regulators to quickly remove content deemed seriously harmful. Supporters say it protects public health and safety. Critics fear it may suppress legitimate dissent. The UK and Canada also recognize that speech isn't neutral. It can uplift or it can destroy. Their laws aim to balance expression with dignity. And they're still free societies. People protest, speak out, and criticize their governments. But they've chosen a system that doesn't let free speech become a weapon against vulnerable communities.
But when laws are too vague, like banning speech that's likely to expose someone to hatred, you create a chilling effect. People don't know where the line is, so they stay silent. That's not a healthy democracy. That's self-censorship.
And yet, in the U.S., we often see the opposite problem. People who are targeted by hate or harassment feel they can't speak safely. The loudest voices dominate while others are drowned out. Think of someone stepping up to share their story, only to be shouted down before they begin. That's not free speech. That's exclusion. True freedom of speech means everyone gets to speak, not just those with power, privilege, or volume. Sometimes that requires boundaries.
So the question remains, is free speech stronger when it has no limits, or when it's guided by the responsibility to protect others? Let's hear the final thoughts.
Free speech isn't always comfortable, but it's always essential. Like I mentioned before, when the government decides what's too dangerous to say, we all lose. We don't protect speech because it's agreeable. We protect it because censoring speech has been the first move of every authoritarian regime in history. Bad ideas don't disappear when they're banned. They grow in the shadows. The only way to fight them is with better ideas, debated openly and challenged publicly. If we want a free society, we must trust people to hear everything and decide for themselves.
Speech carries weight, and with it, real consequences. As we saw with misinformation and hate speech, silence often comes from fear, not freedom. Words can inspire hope or fuel hate. Misinformation can mislead millions. Harassment can silence entire communities. Freedom isn't just the right to speak, it's the right to be heard, to feel safe, and to participate fully in public life. That means setting limits that protect people while still allowing debate. Free speech isn't weakened by boundaries, it's made stronger and fairer for all.
You've heard both sides. Now it's your turn. Who made the stronger case? Vote in the comments, like, and subscribe for more debates from AI versus AI, where unbiased minds take on the toughest questions.